just in case. Okay, let me go back. Okay, let's continue. Now, so balancing is very important now. If I use, let's say, start from the equation again, S equals to D over T. If the question gives you the distance in km, let's say an object travels 32 km in 2 hours, let's say. The object travels 32 km in 2 hours. Now, you know that the distance should be in meter and the time should be in second. That is the SI. But the question gives you km and h. So what do? Can you use km and h? Yes, you can. But you have to make sure the unit is balanced on the other side. What do I mean? For example, if you use km for the distance, this is km, right? This is km. And time is hour, right? So if you take time divided by distance, what do you get? Do you still get meter per second? No, you don't get meter per second because this is km and hour. So you get km per hour. All right. So you have to be careful with that because sometimes many students make the mistakes of, like, they see, okay, km an hour, but they still put meter per second for the speed. So it has to, it depends on the unit you put in the formula. All right. So if it's km an hour, then you have to make sure on the other side of the formula, still it is balanced out. Km and km, hour and hour, it is balanced out, cancel out each other. Right. So this is one important, very important note that I have to keep remind you. All right. Because every year their students make the same mistakes. Okay. Now, next one. So the SI unit. So speed has many units. Unit for speed, I write down here. Speed has many units. The first one is the SI unit. SI is meter per second. Right, ms minus 1. And we also have, sometimes you will see kilometer per hour. Okay, kilometer per hour. So this is normally the speed we use, right? And different contexts, they use different scale for the speed. For example, if for airplanes, right? Airplanes travel faster. They don't use kilometer per hour. They use knot. They use nautical mile. Nautical mile like kn or t. Nautical. How many knots, and then rocket also different. They use different scale of speed, and in the astronomical scale, the light speed, all that, they use light year, right? So there are many different measurement for speed, but for us in this case, we normally use only meter per second and kilometer per hour. All right, kilometer per hour usually used for car, motorcycle, all that, right? Okay. Now let's say an object travels 5,000 meters in 50 seconds. What is the speed? Travels 5,000 meters in 50 seconds. So what is the, first you label out 5,000 meters is the distance, correct? It moves 5,000 meters. So you write down D equals to 5,000 in 50 seconds. So 50 seconds is time, right? So you write down time is 50 seconds. Now you want to find speed, correct? You want to find speed. So S equals to, I don't know yet. Now let's take the formula. S equals to D over T. Okay. Now find the one that is missing. Every time you solve the question, every time you do this type of question, you have to look for the one that is missing, right? So you got T, you got D, you got T. So D and T is given. The one missing is S, right? The one missing is S, and you want to find S. So substitute, put in the number, put a number in the formula, right? So 5,000 here, 5,000 divided by time is 50 equals to, cancel 100. Okay, now here is where you want to be careful here. 100 meter per second or kilometer per hour. 100 meter per second or kilometer per hour. So you see the unit. 5,000 is in what? 5,000 is in meter, and 50 is in second. So when you have meter divided by second, what do you get? Meter per second. So the answer is in meter per second. Okay, so if you write kilometer per hour, then the whole calculation wrong. Just because of one unit, the whole calculation wrong. Okay, there's no like, okay, my answer unit, just a minor mistake, maybe I can get some marks for that. No, it's totally wrong, right? Because you just imagine if a scientist, because of a wrong unit, right, because of one small minor mistakes, it will cause, depends on if you're in the like rocket industry, right? One small calculation, it will cause disaster. Yes, it will cause disaster, and it will cause lives. Yeah, so you have to be careful with all these unit measurement. Okay, if you put the wrong unit, then it's like way off. All right. Now, okay, you can take down this one. I give you 1 minute to take down this one. 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes, and then I'll erase the board. I'll proceed. Okay, finished? Who hasn't finished? Maybe you can take a snapshot so we don't take up too much time. All right, everybody look at here. Okay, let's look at a few examples for this one. Now, number one, object A travels at 5 km in 2 hours. Speed equals to what? So we start from the formula. So every time you solve the physics question, please write down the formula first. Okay, so S equals to dt. Now identify what is missing. So you have 5 km is distance. So you got d, and then 2 hours is time. Okay, now you want to find speed. So S equals to dt. So d is 5 divided by 2 hours, right? 2 hours. So I write 2. So 5 divided by 2, 2.5. 2.5 now. The unit is in, distance is in km, right? So km. And the time is in hour. So your unit is in kilometer per hour. Not meter per second, kilometer per hour. Now, what if you want to find meter per second? What if the question asks you to put the unit in meter per second? Then you change the unit, right? So let's say I do it another one like this one. Okay, let's say we want to put it in meter per second, right? So this one, 5 km, I change to meter. So 5 km equals to 5,000 meter. So that is when you use the prefix, right? Change kilo to meter. So you just times 10 to the power of 3. Now 2 hours equals to what? How many seconds? You want to change to second. Okay, 2 hours equals how many seconds? 1 hour you got 60 minutes, and 1 minute you got 60 seconds. So how do you change that? So hours, if you want to change to second, wait, let me just write this properly. When you want to change hours to second, you multiply, because you are changing from the bigger to the smaller, right? So you multiply. Big to small is multiply. So multiply 3,600, it becomes second. Okay? Hours, you multiply 3,600, it becomes second. And second, if you want to change back to hour, you divide by 3,600. Okay? So why 3,600? Because one hour got 60 minutes, and every minute got 60 seconds. So you times another 60. Then that equals to 3,600. This one. Okay? So 2 hours change to second. So 2 hours, 2 times 3,600. So that equals to what? 7,200. Right? So 7,200 in hour, in second. Then only you put in the formula. All right, so I continue here. So S equals to dt. D is 5,000, and the time is 7,200. And that gives you 0.69 meter per second. Okay, so in meter per second, 0.69. If in kilometer per hour, 2.5 kilometer per hour. It's the same speed. It's the same speed, just different unit, right? So this one is showing that the particle, the object A, it is moving at, okay, meter per second. What does it mean? Meaning that it is moving at 0.69 meter in every second. All right, it's moving 0.69 in every second. So if 2.5, then it is moving 2.5 km in every hour. All right, 2.5 in every hour. Okay, why do we have minus? Okay, minus 1 is like this. Okay, let's say I write let's say is meter/second, right? There are three ways to write it. You can write m/second, m divided by second, or you can write m/second, or you can write ms-1. Right? The -1 is equal to, if I write s-1, that is equals to 1 over s. Okay, that is equals to 1 over s. So let's say this one, ms-1, meaning that is m times 1 over s. And you will get back like m divided by s is the same as this one. Right? So m is just another way of writing it. Okay, kilometer h minus 1 is equals to kilometer/h. Same thing. Same thing. All right? Okay. Let me just erase this. Okay, let's look at question number 2. Question number 2. Okay, question number 2. Object B travels at a speed of 10 meters per second in 5 seconds. What is the distance? Now, this question is not asking about speed anymore. It is asking about what is the distance traveled. Okay, so let's start with the formula. So S equals to D over T. What is given? We have speed. This one, right? 10 meters per second is speed. If you look at the unit, this is the unit for speed, m/second. You straight away you know this is speed. All right. So speed you got. 5 seconds is time. You also got. The only missing is distance. So you want to find distance, right? Now, you want to find distance. Then you want to move the formula. Let's say S equals to dt. Okay, so I put in the value first. Just not to confuse anything. Okay, so speed is equals to 10, right? Is equals to 10. So I change this S to 10 equal to distance divided by time is 5 seconds, right? So 5 here. Now you want to find D. So D is an unknown. So to find D, you want to move this 5 over to the other side. This is when you need to use your mathematical skill. Okay, move the 5 over to the other side. Okay, have you learned about this one, the linear equation? Moving from left to right, moving to the left side of the equation, move to the right side. Have you learned that in your mathematics class? Maybe you can let me know so that if you haven't learned it, maybe I can spend some time to teach you that one. For example, like x over 4 equals to 5. To find x, you move this 4 over to the other side, so you get x equals to 5 times 4, 20. Have you learned about this one? This one we call the linear equation. Have you learned about this one? Not sure. Why why no one answered? Not sure. Okay, so this one, 10 equals to distance over 5, right? So to find distance, you have to move everything to the other side of the equation except the distance. Okay, so I move the 5 over to the other side. So initially it is divided by 5, right? It is divided by 5. When you move cross the equal sign, it changes. All right, so divide change to times. So D equals to 10 times 5. Okay, 10 times 5 is 50. 50 is the final answer. But is it in km or is it in meter? This is where many people confuse about. Is it in km or in meter? Now, look back at the unit. Look back at the unit. What is the unit for speed that you put in the formula? It is in meter per second, correct? What is the unit for time? You put it in the formula. It is in second. So remember I said about balancing of equation, that left side and right side has to be balanced. So if you have second here and it cancels out with the second here, so this distance must be meter to balance out the left side. So 50 is in meter. This is the final answer. Okay. Okay, let's look at last question, last example. I haven't finished yet, just the last example. Okay, now object C travels 100 meter at a speed of 50 meter per second. What is the time taken? Okay, S equals to dt. What is given here? 100 meter, this one is the distance, and 50 meter per second, this one is the speed, right? So you have distance and you have speed. You want to find the time taken. Okay, now let's put in the number first. Put in the number. So speed is 50 equals distance is 100 divided by time. Only time is unknown here. So we want to find time. Now, first you move the time, since it is under the denominator of the fraction, right? It is below the fraction. So you have to remove. You have to cancel out the fraction first. Cancel out by moving time over here. Okay. So initially this is divide. You move to the other side, it becomes times. So 50 times time equals to 100. Okay, and then you want to move this 50 to the other side here. So t equals to 100 and divided by 50. Okay, so you see how I changed the formula. So I only get time on one side of the equation. It's just t alone. Other values you have to move it to the other side. Okay, so t equals to this one. So 100 divided by 50 is 2. 2 second or hour or minute. Look at the unit. Distance here is in meter. Speed is in meter / second. So you have meter and meter, second and second. So the time is in second. Any question? How come suddenly all close your camera already? Keep your camera on. Okay, you have 1 minute to take down this one. The time limit left 1 minute, and it will be kicked out. 1 minute. I'll create another link again. Brandon.
Yes.
Your camera.